If I bleed tonight, if I am sad tonight, I don't have a job to find.
Hey everybody, it's friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete here, and welcome to another episode of my horror debate series that I collaborate with my good buddy Carlin, where we debate a wide array of topics in the horror genre. So if you're new here, what you do is after you watch my video, you'll go to Carlin's video next. I'll have a link down in the description below. Watch his video with the same title. Then if you like, you can go to the community tab on his page and you can vote for who you thought had the better argument. Was it me? Was it Carlin? And there's also a tie option because people say sometimes we do a good job and it was a tie. It's a lot of fun, so I hope you check it out. So this week we're discussing something pretty good. I think a topic that I suggested to Carl, and I'm glad he went with it. We're discussing what is the best horror anthology movie. Yeah, I apologize. I'm recording this last minute. I kind of goofed the schedule up, so I'm kind of wing it. Not really having a script right now, but I do love the horror movie anthology that I'm going to talk about. I also love Carl, so if you've seen his video, you know he's got a great pick. If you haven't seen his yet, trust me, he's got a really good pick at all. But for the movie I'm selecting is Creepshow. I love this movie. I love the tagline on the film's poster. It's the most fun you'll ever have being scared. Really great. And I'm just going to quickly go through all the stories in this anthology. The first story, Father's Day. Man, this one really sets the pace excellent for this film. You got Bedelia visiting family on Father's Day because she had murdered her father. The special effects are great. I love when the corpse comes out of the grave and he goes, "It's Father's Day." So good. It's the way she screams. Another thing this movie does very, very well is the score. And you have the accents that it feels like comic book pages when you're watching this because it was based off the Haunt of Fear, the Vault of Horror, all those classic comic books. And it does it so well. The score, it's a fun story too. In Father's Day, father comes back from the dead for revenge, and at the end you get that shock with the head on the tray of, I think, Aunt Sylvia, her name is, and who could forget Ed Harris? One of Ed Harris's early roles. He's got that wonderful dance scene. Such a fun story. Yeah, Father's Day really sets the pace well for this excellent horror anthology. Next, we have The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill, of course, starring Stephen King. Meteor crashes on this bumpkin's land. He goes to touch it, releases this kind of plague, so to speak, of this green growth. Touches it, calls himself a lunkhead. You know, he's watching TV in his house and all this green moss starts growing everywhere. It's getting more, but again, the way the score reacts, the way it's shot, it keeps building more and more tension. Like, okay, how bad is it going to get? You kind of put yourself in the position of Jordy every now and then, like, oh my God, what would you do? And he wakes up, it's getting more and more. It's just more than on his fingers, it's on his face. Then he's all itchy. He gets in the bathtub. Of course, he gets that vision telling him not to. And that ending is really dark. It's really, really dark, but he's got no choice. Obviously, he felt he had no choice. Such a dark ending, and the way he's pleading, please God, make his luck just one time work for him. It just really, it's excellent. It's really impactful. And then you hear the radio broadcast out, it's going to rain, and you see that green stuff all going towards the next town. So another really fun story in this horror anthology. Next, we have Something That Tied You Over, starring Ted Danson and Leslie Nielsen. Two actors probably known for more of their comedic roles. You know, Ted Danson in Cheers and Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun and Police Squad and a plethora of other ones. But he plays an excellent villain. Leslie Nielsen does a great job. But you know the story. Ted Danson is having an affair with Leslie Nielsen's wife in the story. So he takes him out into the beach, buries him neck up, which is that's claustrophobic feeling. Forces him to do it. So he's pretty much forced him to dig his own grave as the tide comes in and comes over his head. Then, of course, you get that great reveal at the end with Ted Danson and his, the woman who's having an affair with Leslie Nielsen's wife come to get revenge. And I love the way it ends. It almost has that comedic tone as well. We're like, I can hold my breath for a long time. And then the wave comes up. Another one shot exceptionally well. I like how sometimes the camera is tilted, which does give it that more of a comic book feel to it. The same thing with the light on it. That's one thing I love about all the stories in this anthology. It feels like you're reading a horror comic from decades ago because that's what it was based on. So it definitely gives you that feeling of being young, reading this horror comic you're not supposed to be reading. So something that tied you over. Two great iconic actors, excellent stuff. Another fantastic story. And then we have The Crate with Hal Holbrook, and who can forget Adrienne Barbeau. She is just a shrew of a woman. So horrible to her husband. She's just so evil. And then you got this crate monster that they called Fluffy. Of course, Tom Savini affects his entire film. Enough said about that one. This story is, I think it's the longest one out of all 5, but it's paced so well. Tension just keeps on building and building. You get all these deaths from Fluffy. And at the end, when he pushes her against the crate, he says, come on, do it. Real great tension in that scene. You want to see Adrienne Barbeau get her due because she's such a bitch of a shrew of a woman, just so evil to everybody. So, and you can tell, yeah, he was just pretty much sick of her. Fluffy looked fantastic. And again, the way it ended, the crate breaks when it falls into the ocean. And then you just see the eyes like, oh my God, what's next? And I love when stories do that. When it lets the viewer decide what's going to happen next. It doesn't give you all the answers. Just gives you a little question here and there, a little stinger at the end. And it's up for you to decide what you think happens next in the story. And I think that really builds well for the effect this entire anthology actually has. And then you have the final story, which I will say, for I think obvious reasons, is my least favorite. I think I've only watched it fully twice because I just can't do bugs, especially cockroaches. It's just disgusting. That's what it wants to have, though. It wants to make you feel disgusted. Like, if you see a cockroach anywhere near you, I want to stomp on it, kill it, burn everything. So just, but this guy, he's an ass. He's a jerk to everybody. He's cruel to everyone. So it's another person getting their comeuppance. That's why a lot of things, not all the stories, but like, exception of Jordy, because I don't really think he deserved his comeuppance. He really didn't get one. But a lot of other ones, you got people getting their comeuppance. And I think that it makes it a cathartic feeling when you watch films like this. So the guy's really evil and just cockroaches take over. Ew is all I gotta say, but the attention to detail they put into this film, like painting the bottom of the roach's feet to leave little trail marks. Yeah, it's a good story, but if they're creeping on you, that's what it makes me feel like, that they're creeping on me. So I hate talking about this story because it's just so gross and uncomfortable, but I have to admit it is a very effective story for really grossing you out, making you feel uncomfortable. And I'm not going to forget about the wraparound story starting the wonderful Tom Atkins and Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, where he smacks him in the beginning of this book, of the story and everything, because he doesn't want him reading, this type of crap. And he mentions some of the stories, like weeds growing on you, people coming back from the dead. So I love how he gives you hints on what the stories are going to be about. So when first time you watch it, like, oh, wait, he brought that up. So it's kind of cool. And then, he gets his comeuppance at the end because he builds a voodoo doll that he saw out of the back of one of these old comic books, because I used to sell stuff like that. So even the wraparound and the story is great. You got the creep out the window, the score. There's just so much well done in this movie. The stories, who they're written by, the way it's directed, the way it's shot, the special effects. When you talk about the best horror anthologies out there, Creepshow is always going to be at the top of the list, because everything it did was so effective. Each story gave you something different. It wasn't like just that's the same story over and over again. No, each story gave you something different with different characters, different themes, different motivations. And it was just so well. And then you have the wraparound, which tied everything up into a nice little bow throughout those little segments. Those work so exceptionally well. But I think Creepshow is the best horror anthology out there. And all the horror anthologies I followed since this one, you think kind of copied off of Creepshow, because Creepshow was just so effective in the way it was done. But, yeah, there we go. That's why I feel that Creepshow is the best horror anthology out there. But, as always, don't forget to let us know in the comments down below what you think the best horror anthology is out there, because, of course, there is no wrong answer. This is all opinions. There's lots of great horror anthologies out there. We all like stuff for different reasons. So, if you felt differently, let me know in the comments down below. If you agree, let me know in the comments down below. I would love reading all those comments. And let me know what your favorite horror anthology is. So, if you haven't done so already, please go to Carl's channel, link down in the description. Select his video with the same title, and then you can vote for who you thought had the better selection for best horror anthology, and there's a tie option as well. Well, I appreciate everybody. Thanks for bearing with me, kind of recording this the last minute. So, I apologize for that. I'll get back on track. Sometimes life gets in the way. We all understand that, right? Okay, great. But I hope you all are doing well. Take care of yourselves and each other. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. Remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.